Hey everybody, welcome back to Monster Mod Customs. It's been a minute since I've gotten to do a video like this. Um, so, well, weather's gotten better. That's a big thing. It's not 100 degrees outside with a ton of humidity, but also the other fun thing is this right here that I'm going to show you here in a second. So the last time I talked about it was with Frankenstein, was the dealing with the brakes on it. And brakes are dealt with. I explained that in the video before. It is running fine. I haven't had any issues with braking ever since then, which is great. So now it's time to address another problem. Originally, when I was going into it, there's a few things I got to do. The biggest thing, as I said in the prior video, I had to deal with wheels. And I had two options for wheels. It's kind of hard to find wheels for this truck. I don't want to get rid of my tires and have to spend $5 grand on a whole new set of tires and wheels. And these tires don't have that many miles on them, maybe 1,000 miles, maybe. So I need 15-inch diameter wheels. Nobody makes beadlocks in a 15-inch anymore. It's long since switched up. Now the standard is 17-inch wheels. So finding a 15-inch beadlock that's not just some pre-made or some homemade thing like what I have out there right now, the beadlocks that are on Frankenstein, was hard. There are two companies. One of them is one that I know is a good company because I've seen the wheels before. It's a company called Trail Ready, and they make an aluminum beadlock, and it looks nice. I'll put a picture of them up in the corner and kind of flash through them so that I could show you what I'm talking about. But those wheels have a nice heavy-duty beadlock ring. It's wide, just like the ones on Frankenstein is, so it still has that look. All around it looks nice. It's very heavy-duty, good hardware. And the other nice thing is that they come in a 9-inch wheel width variety. These ones I've got out here are 10s, which look nice because the wheel doesn't tuck in a whole lot, so it doesn't have that old school mud truck with the bulged out tires like would be on the bias ply tires. So it fits very well with that. Unfortunately, 9-inch wide was about as good as it got. And the issue with those, well, the issue with any wheel is that it's expensive. Those are over $500 per wheel, which is extremely expensive. Dropping, right around $3 grand on a set of wheels just for the wheels themselves and the shipping and all that is a lot of money to invest in a set of wheels. Granted, I mean, it would probably get what I need done. The other option, which I had to do some research on and see if it was viable because it just seemed like one of those too good to be true things. It's a company that's been around for a while. A company called Vision does a 15-inch beadlock. They have a Vision Ojos, which is a alloy wheel beadlock. It is not as wide of a beadlock ring as is on the Trail Ready. So the Trail Ready looks more like it's a tried and true beadlock. These ones, they say they're a beadlock. You can never tell. Everything's a faux beadlock these days. So I was skeptical, but looking at their website, they did say that this wheel was actually a beadlock. So I bought a bunch of them, and now I'm going to start dealing with them. But let's go ahead and just take a look while here. So I cracked open the top of it, but have yet to take it out yet. Here, let me get me set right here. And yeah. So let's Alright, that's a little easier. Got the logo for them. So I'm really hoping these are a proper beadlock. They're not just some faux, or they're not like some kind of fake. Well, that's good news already. That feels like a beadlock ring. Yeah. All right. Okay, so the pictures don't do that justice, because that's actually a pretty nice ring. Ooh, very nice. A little patterned on the back for it. And these are alloy wheels. I think I said that already, but these are alloy wheels as well. But this is a good sign. This is thicker than I thought it was going to be. And I wonder if there's a spacer with this, but we'll see in here in a second. Instructions on how you're not supposed to ride these on the road. Probably. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hard to do. Oh, no, never mind. It's not that hard to do with one hand. All right, there we go. That looks good, actually. I'm surprised. Pleasantly surprised, I guess. Here, let me pull it out. All right, there it is. And the beadlock ring should go around the edge there, so you get a look at what it looks like. Actually, I like that. The pictures made it seem like this retainer ring was smaller, but this looks pretty good size-wise. Nice that it comes with its own center caps. That's pretty cool. But I do like this. So with a lot of beadlocks, mine included, I made them with a kit from Total Metal Innovations. And they make a kit where you can cut basically the front face off of your wheel and put this plate in there, and you can weld it up, and then they have these little tabs that you have to bend up in order to give you that certain distance with it. My issue with those tabs, or at least I should have gotten the stronger ones, I should have gotten the 1/4-inch steel ones rather than the ones that I got out there. But when you go to tighten them down, some of them, if you do even just slightly, they'll start to bend in. This, well, and then other beadlock wheels. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank today. But other beadlock wheels, you have to put a spacer in there because it's basically just a face on the face of the beadlock. This one has a slight, I'd say probably a 1/4-inch drop back right here. And then almost a 1/2 inch right there. So that gives all the space you need. It's built into the wheel edge, so none of this is going to bend. And it gives you all you need to actually tension it down. I like that. This looks good. Oh, that's cool. There's something else I just noticed about these. It's got kind of a bead retainer ring right here. So I've seen a lot of wheels where they have a little bit of a bump, but this has actually an edge on it. So that's pretty nice too. Overall, pretty good. Ooh, that's something I need to do. Didn't think about that. I need valve stems. But anyway, plan, take the wheel, I'm going to do it a wheel at a time, take a wheel off Frankenstein, deflate it, break the bead, pull the trim rings off, and then try to pull the tire. It's going to be a pain, but it's doable. And the thing I want to do with these is that my current beadlock rings are green like the rest of the truck. So I want to sand these down, give them a scuff, maybe some adhesion promoter or something like that, just to make sure it sticks to whatever this surface is. I'm going to assume it's a powder coat. But and then I'll paint it the same green as the truck. And then I'll throw some clear coat on it so we can get some protection on it. And then we'll be ready to go. Okay, so here's the end result after a lot of time and effort. I tried painting them once. It's been getting cold out here, so I tried painting them. I went back and went to do a clear coat on them, but because of how cold it was, it never actually cured fully, and I crackled all the paint on all these. So I had to sand these all the way back down, which is extremely hard considering the little holes and dimples and divots and bits with the text right there. So it took a while to do that. And then I went to paint them again, and they got kind of spotty, and I just let them dry and cure for 4 days. It was pretty cold, so just letting it dry and cure. And then I went over it with a second coat after doing a light scuff, and this is the end result. It is absolutely not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but they work. They're painted, they're cured, they've sat for a while, so I can perfect. So I'm going to see if I can break the beads off of the spare tire on this and see if I can even do the wheel swap, if it's even possible for me, or if I'm going to have to get some specialty help. So that's what we're doing today. All right, I got the spare off. I'm going to go ahead and just take the air out of it. I'll pull the core. I think it has a, yeah, it should have a core. But I'll pull the core out of it, let the air out.
I'll leave the ring on because the only bead I need to break is on the opposite side of this. And then I'll flip it over. I got a trail jack. I'll try to use the weight of the truck to push the tire off the bead, and we'll see if that works. If not, I don't know what to do with it. I got a few things I can try, so we'll see. Well, honestly, I expected it to be a lot more difficult. It just popped immediately loose. Didn't even lift the truck off the ground, so I guess that's the right method to do it. Using this and just being careful with it because it'll drop eventually, immediately when I hit that release latch. Now I gotta try to break this off of this side, but this side's reduced circumference just because it's a bead lock to start with, so I guess I'll just break that free and then maybe put one of these wheels on. After having these wheels for so long, I finally get to change one out and see how it looks and what it does. And maybe I can go for the rest of them. I'll like lift this end up, put this wheel on there, take this one out, put that one on there, and so on and so forth. Downside of the winter months, gets dark real early here. So I did manage to get the wheel out of the tire, but it took a lot of work and effort. In the end, I think the best method I got here wasn't just leveraging on it with a crowbar and I guess another crowbar. That just wasn't doing it. It kept on sliding around. I had a wrench up under there to try to hold it, and it just kept sliding. You can see the scuffing on the side where I basically just chipped the paint off doing it. What I ended up doing was using the trail jack, placing it on the edge of the tire as close to the bead as I could. I pulled up the wheel so that it slightly came above the bead, and I hooked a piece of like a 4-ton ratchet strap on there. And I used that and the trail jack to kind of jack it up and start pulling it off, and then I used the crowbar to just kind of wedge it until it finally popped out. It took quite a while to settle on that answer for doing it. Now I've got the wheel off. I need valve stems because the valve stems that I had on here don't work for these wheels. They're too close to the edge. They'd be butting up against the beadlock ring. So no, it would be useless. So I need some straight valve stems rather than the 90-degree valve stems that I had for these ones. So I got to get those. I have most of my beads still in there. When I was running these, they were running something like 16 ounces of balance beads, which is insane for a wheel. But again, these wheels were unbalanceable. I kept having vibration and bounce and hop and wobble and basically everything associated with this not being able to balance properly, which was all just on the, I mean, I guess it was on the weld work. Here, I can show you what it looks like. Because I didn't record any of this stuff when I was originally making these. So this is the kit from TMI. They send you this big ring. They send you all the hardware. And they send you this ring too. And you basically cut the edge off of the wheel. And then you weld this ring on. Now I already made a mistake on this because rather than getting the 1/4 inch thick steel inner ring, I only did the 3/8, and you could see it started to warp and ripple just from torquing this down. And it's not much torque on these. It's just there's so many of them and they apply torque that this plate gives nothing. This plate does give. So I had a little bit, but I never had any issues with leaking around the bead, and that's mostly because of this edge right here. So when I welded this in, I basically did a full edge on here so that it had a little bump out to hold it. And that is what kept my leak proofing going. Great kit, but there was no way for me to know if I applied too much weld over here, over there, or when I cut all this off. I'm not a machine shop. I don't know if any of this was cut completely flat. I tried to get it as flat as possible, but I could have had it just slightly ticked up, not even a 1/16 of an inch on one side, and that's going to throw the balance way out of spec for this. So these are great wheels, a great kit. In the hands of maybe a professional shop, it could probably be done better or correctly, I'd say. I don't know how correct it can be. They say these aren't supposed to be wheels you use for on-road travel. But if I had a shop or something like that and I could TIG these on, I could get perfect weld around the entire thing. I could weld everything so that there was nothing, no extra bead. I could know that it was level and flat and all that. So I don't think this is a quality concern on Total Metal Innovations. This is just my own welding skill. I'm an all-right welder. I'm not a machine. I can't do precision like that. So probably tomorrow I'll run out, grab valve stems, hopefully. I'm considering if I want to get more or a different type of, because technology's changed since I made these and since I last did all this, and there's different types of balance beads now. These are just BBs that came actually from TMI. TMI sent all this stuff out with the wheels. You tell them what size tire you have and how wide the wheel is and how the diameter and all that, and they'll give you the specific amount of beads it should take to balance that wheel out. Unfortunately, I was at, I think, 8 ounces, 10 ounces. I think it was 10 ounces. I added another 8 ounces, or not 8 ounces, 6 ounces to it in order to even just kind of level it out. And I might have been able to get away with maybe adding more, but it's just kind of not solving the problem. So I'm considering getting more balance beads, or I might just reuse these because these look fine. Everything looks fine in there. I just gotta take them out, measure them, make sure I get the right amount of balance beads in there, and I'll look at their website again and see what they recommend for all of this stuff. And hopefully I don't have vibration anymore. I would like that a lot. I'd like to be able to drive this thing. I'd like to go on an off-road trip. I'm actually kind of missing out on one. Had some people at work that are heading out to Pennsylvania, and I just don't have something that's reliable to drive, and I don't have a tow rig. So if I can get this done, it should up my reliability by a large margin. And then it's mostly cosmetic. It should be good. All right, till tomorrow. All right, we're back at it today. So I might sound a little weird and I might be coughing a lot because I've been sick for like a week trying to do this crap, but we'll get back to it today. I'm gonna clean out the inside of this tire because that tire mounting lube, whatever it is, I have gotten the inside of it, so I want to kind of dry it out. And then I want to measure how much I got as far as beads in there. I think I'll stick to their recommendation, which is 10 ounces, and I'll keep that thrown in there. And then we'll finally get to see what these look like when it's mounted up. Should be pretty cool. I got some valve stems, other valve stems like here. Let me show you the ones I was using. I just went out to the store and grabbed some for starters. I grabbed some like bolt-on ones, but these are the ones I was trying to install, just normal valve stems. I don't know what the trick is to these, but these things are hard as hell to get into that wheel. I mean, these are solid as a rock. Trying to get this to squeeze down and push through there is not easy. It's very difficult. But if I can install these, I'd prefer to use these. But otherwise, I've got some bolt-on ones that will work just as well. It's just that the rubber on those ones will give out faster than the rubber on this will. So we'll see. It's all dependent. Here's a little look at the difference. I finally got one of them finished. God, it took forever. But now I know how to do it, I guess. So these are only 8-inch wide wheels. Those were 10-inch wide wheels. They have the same back spacing, but obviously that one was going to make them stick out just a little bit more. So it's actually going to pull my tires in just slightly. But the outer, like on this one, you can see that it's got more of a bulge out. It's going to change my tread wear pattern, so I'll have to play around with how much pressure I put in them. But overall, I like it. Now hopefully, since I've already trialed this wheel, I'll be able to do this one in half as much time. That's how that works, right? We can hope. But I'll record the whole process here on what I did for it once I get it rolling. That way you can see. I mean, it's not really anything interesting going on with it. It's just taking it off. It took actually a bit to get this one on here because the way that this one is, it doesn't have an inner retainer for the bead. So when you tighten the bead down, it squishes and it kind of sticks out at the bottom. And all that extra lip that was on there, this has a retaining edge. So getting it around that was a nightmare. That took me probably an hour and a half. But hopefully I can do it better this time. Okay, no sooner did I go to put this on, did I find another problem. It's always like this, one step forward, 2 or 3 steps back. You can never really predict it. And one thing that happens when it comes down to these types of builds and work and stuff like that is that if you think you know what the time frame is going to be, it's not going to be that. Because you're going to have something go wrong like this. So here's my problem. I got my lug nuts here. That's it. That's the amount it goes. It's like 3 threads. And that is not suitable for on-road travel. So I've got a lug there. Very hard to see. But it has basically a 1/2 inch of just empty space. No threads, no nothing. These are brand new on the axle shaft, so these just came with it. But this alloy wheel has, I don't know, probably like an extra 1/2 inch of wheel space that pushes against the brake rotor. And that extra 1/2 inch means that I'm not getting thread engagement on my lug nuts. Which means I'm going to have to take these axle shafts out and I'm going to have to press out the lugs and put in newer, longer ones, which really sucks. That's just one more thing to add to this. It's not insanely complicated, but again, it's just another problem. And these things keep adding up. They keep on building. And that makes it really difficult to keep up with all this stuff. That really sucks. You just can't get any thread engagement on that. Why the hell did they make the lugs with 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of just empty thread space? There's nothing there. If it had threads all the way out to the end of this, I'd be set. I wouldn't have an issue. But because for some reason these did not come with threads all the way out, I gotta redo the lugs on them. That's gonna set me back a little bit of time, which means I'm probably not gonna have any more shows this year with this vehicle. I gotta find new ones. I probably gotta buy some specialty tools. At least I have an impact wrench, so I could probably do it myself. I don't have a press, so I can't just throw throw the shafts up there and press out all these. Maybe there's a shop around that I can take them to and they can press them out and put new ones in. That might be what I do if it turns out to be too much trouble. More trouble than it's worth. That's unfortunate. But you can see what it looks like on here. A little bit of a difference in size. I think it pulls the tire in about an inch. So we can look at it from back here. About to the edge of this lug right here, this kind of diamond-y shaped lug. It sticks out about 2 inches, 3 inches on this side. You can see that this is more like back here, so about another inch behind this diamond lug thing. So I'm going to lose a little bit of my wideness of this truck, which kind of sucks. I do like it. I like its current look. But I think the drivability of having these, and honestly it's not going to make a ton of difference. I can tell, because I look at this truck all the time, I can tell immediately that it's closer in just by looking at it right here. But the drivability is worth everything that's going into the wheel and tire project here. So I guess this is it for this video. I might throw this one out there so we can do like a part 1 and then a part 2 where I finish this stuff up. Because right now I guess I can start pulling that one apart. I can at least get another wheel set. I just can't put it on because I've got to buy new lugs, and I got to find whatever tool I need to press them out and press new ones in, and then I'll need to basically take that whole thing apart again. I'm getting really good at taking this rear axle apart. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So. just wanted to show this little bit because these are a pain to get in. This is how I'm doing my valve stems. I take the core out of it. I got this match-up threaded screw. Screw it in there, like that. Grab the hammer. I got a rag over here too. I got things I could use. So I'm sticking this through here, like that. Let me get a rag. Put that through there, a rag up against it, and then that's just to protect the finish, and then I just take the hammer and I pull on it, and boom. Now I got a valve stem in there. All I gotta do is unscrew this, and there we go. I got a seated valve stem. I'll put the core back in, and I'm all done with that. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where I said it was a pain to get these things on because of this. This is where it squished on the old wheel and kind of misformed or malformed the edges of the tire bead. Okay, another day back out here. It's a bit further, probably a couple weeks since the last time I posted anything, or not posted, but recorded anything. So here's the deal today. I have to basically replace the wheel studs. They are too short, and I think these are supposed to be a longer wheel stud. These are a 3-inch wheel stud. I think these were 1 5/8. Not entirely sure. Yeah, they're maybe about 2 inches, but they also have this easy thread cap on the end of it, whereas these are just straight long studs. They're threaded all the way up, so I shouldn't have any issues with that. They're supposed to be the right collar distance and knurl and everything like that. I just have to be able to press these off. So I'm not sure, we'll get looking behind here, if I'm even able to press these or put these back in, but I guess I'm gonna find out because I got to take it apart. If I could do it all without having to remove the axle shafts, that'd be great. It does look like it's got a lot of distance right here, as long as it's at the bottom or at the side or something like that. So I might be able to get these out without too much issue. And then I just gotta thread the new ones on there. But first I gotta take the brake off, and I can already see, even despite the paint on it, it's getting kind of rusty. So I might clean it off and just hit it with another coat real quick while I got it off. And then I get to do the other side too. And hopefully that solves the issue up here. I don't know what it's gonna look like up here. If I end up having to replace the studs on the front, then I will probably replace the entire hub rotor, because the hub rotor on these is, let's see if I can see it. I'll climb under here. Yeah, you can see it. So it's not terrible, but it's scored up a bit just from the hard grinding of the brakes when it was having its issues. So can potentially solve that issue. Well, I definitely solve that issue if I just buy new hub rotors. Same thing on that side. They're not
terribly scored, so they might be rescuable. But if I have to replace the wheel studs on the front too, then I'll need to order another one of these kits, and I'll need to wait for it to get in. So until I take that one apart, I'm not really gonna know if I need to replace it or not. It would kind of suck to have to, but I guess it is what it is. So today, hopefully, we'll get this all taken off, we'll press them out, put the new ones in, get this wheel actually mounted on there, solidly mounted. And then I've got the other tire over here that I have to finish actually beating. So I'll need to lay it down like was in the prior video and just keep working that edge to try to get it to sit on that ring, because these have been used in a beadlock before. The edge is squashed a bit, so it makes it hard to line up. If these were new tires, it'd probably fly right on there, it'd be fine, I'd never had an issue. Unfortunately, they're not. So, figuring that out, and we'll see how far we get today. My goal is to at least have the rear wheels done. That would be the best option for me. But I don't know. Well, I don't know if any of that prior stuff was recorded, honestly. So, here we are. I don't know how far back it goes. This thing just shut off, which is my indicator that it's not recording anymore. So basically I had to pull the wheel studs. These are actually a better fit for this because their knurls come basically all the way through, rather than that right there where you see the shiny bit. That was where the collar was on the old ones. So these will come through further and engage more on that. A little bit more strength on there. And right now I'm just trying to put them in. I don't know if this recorded any of the process of me taking them out. So I guess I'll just record that for the other side when it comes down to it. I honestly don't know. I don't know why it would shut off unless I stopped the recording, but I guess we'll see. Right now I'm just trying to cinch the new ones down, so I'm using the tool that I used to take them out. I can't use it for fully seating them because this I guess the support pin here, or the push pin here, will end up falling off the tool. So I'm just using it to get it seated for the most part, and then I'll use the lug method to push it the rest of the way. On to the next one. We press the studs out of that. I got the wheel all mounted up. I'm about to throw some air to it. Found a slightly easier way. Oh, bald eagles up on the tower there. It's gonna be real hard to see, but throw some air to it, get these pushed out, and then I get to break this one down, which is its own fun process. And then I'll be able to throw it on one of the fronts, and maybe I can get 3 tires on this thing today. That would be pretty cool, but we'll see. Okay, so got all those in. I'll have to clean them up. I don't want bearing grease on the bolts when I go to mount all this stuff. I want it to be tight. So I'll clean it with acetone once I get to that point. The reason I use that was just to kind of help smooth out those two pieces of metal rubbing against each other, so I didn't create too much heat, I didn't catch, and I didn't end up breaking that sleeve. That sleeve definitely ballooned a bit, you can see, but it kept it all centered, which was really nice because I just pulled right through. So Now I've got to cut 3/4 of an inch off of each of these. And then I get to smooth them out, basically try to cone the edges a little bit, and then I can reinstall everything, and I should have 2 wheels on this truck, which would be insane. And then I've got about an hour of daylight left, if that. It's going to start getting, like, daylight is putting it. Hopefully it's going to start getting much darker here in about 30 minutes. So I think I can get this done in 30 minutes. Sunny day out today, getting on it early. Hopefully, as I said at the end of the last segment, we'll be able to get these tires done today. So all I got to do is take the bead. Well, I got to break a tire free, but hopefully I've got it kind of figured out by now, so I'll be able to do this a lot easier. Hopefully, I say. We'll see. But you know, it gets faster every time you do it. Maybe I'll get to drive this thing and really see what these new wheels do. Well, finally some good news. It actually, I mean, I'll say just barely. Like back there, I've got an inch of thread engagement. I've got more than enough to hold those on there. These have dead on, well, maybe a little bit more than half an inch of thread engagement, which you need the diameter of the bolt as far as thread engagement to make sure that it stays on. And I've got just a little bit beyond that, so we're good. I don't have to re-stud these fronts, and I like that. Look at that. Okay, so these wheels have a ring like back here. Let me show you. See? They come with their own center caps, but their center caps pop out, but it still has this little bezel piece. It's plastic, but still, it gets a nice look with the hub and everything like that. I think that's really nice looking. Cool. This is good news because this means I can actually finish these tires today. I can get on them. I can get this one took me, what time is it? 12 o'clock? Like 2 hours to do. So from nothing, like deflating it, breaking it down, pulling the wheel out, mounting it up, doing the bolt torque procedure, and then airing it up and throwing it on here. It took me about 2 hours. So I should be able to knock this out today. I should be done by the time it comes around. And then we get to see this thing. I mean, you could see it right now, what it's going to look like on the other side. gets easier as I go along, so I managed to knock all these out before the sun even started going down. Here we go. All four corners and spare. And it functioned as a tire rotation for me, even though these only have about, I don't know, maybe 1,000 miles on them. Looks pretty good. I like it. I like the look. I don't even notice how much narrower it is. Granted, I only lost a couple of inches. I got it started up. Kicking over, warming back up because the battery was dead, obviously. I really need to put a kill switch on this, or I need to figure out a way to just disconnect my battery when I'm not using it. Or I just need to start it every week. Because this thing, battery dies fairly quickly. But overall pretty good. I'm about to take it for a ride and see what it does, how it feels. Just kind of break it in, work it in, see what it looks like. I guess I'll bring a camera along since I got the mount in here already. We can see how it does. Although, it's not going to make much of a difference to the camera because this thing automatically stabilizes everything. So you guys aren't going to notice. Every time I ride in this vehicle, it looks perfect as far as smoothness, but it is actually a little bit bouncy. So I'll get you guys mounted up there. We'll go for a ride and see how it does. I'll make a store stop out of it and see how this works. Should be interesting. Okay, so just real quick, I've driven maybe like 2 miles, but when I pulled out of my driveway, I could instantly feel a difference in the weight, how it moves. It felt so much lighter, so much faster on throttle. It actually turned on, like, accelerated very quickly. I just want to make sure I'm not in these people's way. It accelerated much easier. It felt lighter. I could notice an instant difference. Now, aside from that, just driving these 2 miles, which is mostly just 25, 30 miles an hour, night and day difference. Honestly, it's smooth as glass. I noticed nothing, and this has half of the balance speed weight in it. So I was worried maybe I would be cutting out too much, and I'd have to throw some more back into them, but right now it's so smooth I can hardly believe it. It's crazy how much of a difference this made to the vehicle. I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. That's on me, but man, all that pain, all that effort that went into making this thing, giving this thing some new shoes was worth it. It was very, very worth it. We're gonna drive around a little bit more and see, and actually go to the store. So, all right, back again. Went out for a ride, probably 45 minutes worth. Handled great. At the beginning, there was basically nothing. It was extremely smooth, as I said. Right towards the end, I started feeling vibration again at around 45 to 50. Still very smooth all the way around, and the 45 to 50 is way less than it was before, but it's there, and it only showed up after I was driving for a little bit. It does go up to, I took it all the way up to 70 miles an hour, and it did fine at 70 miles an hour. It was a little white knuckle just because it's not meant to go that fast with these big of tires, but it was able to do it. It climbed up there just fine. It didn't really vibrate a whole lot, aside from just the general, these are big tires, not meant to go that fast. The rest of it, I mean, maybe that 45 to 50 is, I just need more weight in the tires, which sucks. I really don't want to take the
beadlock rings back off because they were a pain to get on in the first place. But I'll keep driving it around and kind of breaking it back in a little bit. And we'll see if that helps it, if it keeps that that little bit. Again, when I say a vibration, it's way better than it was before. Before this, the mirror over here would shake at 45 and 50. It'd be like this, and it'd be hard to see anything. This whole tire would wobble in the bed, and none of that happens anymore. And maybe I'm just being picky with it, but it still had a little bit of vibration. Not much, a little bit. Otherwise, way better. I can feel the difference in rotating mass with it. It's just so much snappier, quicker, and just feels all around like it handles better, just all over. So I'd call that a success. This was a fun, well, no, it wasn't fun. It was a fun drive. The project itself was a pain, but it's done. And if I have to modify it further in the future, then I can do that. I've got the ability. I mean, all I got to do is take the wheels back off and then break the bead lock. I'll just have to realign it. Hopefully from them sitting there like this and being bolted down, it'll keep the form and the shape. So when I take this back apart, it'll be a lot easier to put back. And I might, you know, again, I think I had right around 16 ounces of balance beads in there before. I used about half, so I'm at about 8 ounces. And I could probably knock it up to 10, maybe 12, but honestly, it's just so much better that I want to drive it around and feel it out first. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm looking at everything and trying to study it and see what might have been different or causing it to bounce a little bit. But again, big difference on this. And if I have to, I'll take them back apart to add more balance beads. But otherwise, I'm gonna keep rolling with it. So thanks again for watching. This is not quite as long as the metal work on that, but this did take a while. Mostly just me getting up and doing it. But I'll see you in the next video.